Alright people, not gonna say hello or anything like that. I'm gonna get right to it. I'm gonna mention every possible fix that I found, and of course some of them are gonna be very stupid, as you can see on the list that's gonna pop up on the screen. Well, for the first ones are if the bug check code is not 0, so just follow me. This is the first one. We're gonna go through an uncheck automatic restart. So go to this address, control panel, system and security, system, advanced system settings, and start up and recovery. And make sure you uncheck that automatic restart under system failure. And click OK, and you're done. Well, I'm not sure how this is going to work out for you, but we're going to create a custom power plan. For good crying out loud. Just go inside control panel, system and security, power options, and click on the left hand side that says create a power plan. Choose a name. It can be anything like my fucked up power plan, and it says click next, and then you're going to create one. Right in front of the power plan that you've just created, click on change plan settings, and then click on change advanced power settings, and then you're going to change every single settings that you see on the screen. Turn them to 0, which is going to change the settings to never for the hard disk. And after that, go to the sleep section, open it, and then under sleep after, allow hybrid sleep, hibernate after, and allow wake timers. Change every single one of them to never, off, and whatever the fuck you're going to find under there. Another reason that this error could happen is because of your audio drivers. If you're using the ones that are actually having a duplicate, you're gonna have to disable them. So just keep holding, by pressing Windows key plus X, you're just gonna open this menu and go into your device manager. Find your audio drivers under sound and disable any duplicate ones if you are having any, because it's gonna cause you trouble. Well, I don't know if this is gonna work out for you, but I've heard that some of the people actually reported that turning off fast startup is going to change something, so we're going to do that. Go into your control panel, system and security, and then find your power options. On the left hand side, click on choose whatever the fuck the power buttons do, and then on the up, change settings that are currently unavailable, click on that one, and then on the down side, turn on fast startup, which says recommended, which of course everything that Windows recommended, I'd rather not use it. So make sure that is unchecked, click on save changes, and then get the fuck out. One of the other possible fixes that have been mentioned a lot is actually updating your drivers and all that stuff. But the other solution is actually flashing your BIOS to a newer version. So you're gonna have to go to the support section of the brand that you are using and download the latest BIOS firmware that you can find. As you can see, mine is an Asus Maximus Extreme motherboard, and the latest BIOS firmware is 3504, and there's a lot of fix in here, and download it and flash your BIOS. There's another thing that you can test and get into your BIOS by pressing delete button on the screen, and then you're gonna change the frequency of your RAM and your CPU back to the original. See if it's gonna make any change to the behavior of your system, and maybe it's gonna help. Who knows? But yeah, do change it back to the original frequency and test out this theory. Of course, I'm not really sure if that's gonna work out either. And of course, I know that so many of you out there are overclock enthusiasts and they're gonna love to mess with your system, but this time change it back to the original and see if it's gonna help you or not. There are so many settings in here that I really like to mess with, but not when the equipments that I needed I don't have. So everything that we went through and I told you is more like maybe it's gonna work, maybe it's not gonna work. But now let's bring out the logic board and go forward based on the things that we know. There are two different possible ways that we can go. First one, if we're gonna look at the event viewer, as you can see, this is the critical error that I'm getting. By double clicking on it, it's going to show everything that I need. Go into details. Now, as you can see, the bug check code is 0 for me. Why this is happening? It's happening because the system didn't have enough time before the sudden restart to actually write that log. Now, since the bug check error code is 0, it's actually like a crying out for help that tells you clearly that your system have a hardware issue and it's not software related. So this is that. But what if there's a bug check code value? What you're gonna do then? I'm gonna help you out. Let me close the event viewer, and as you can know, the bug check code value is actually in decimal format and not in the more common format of hexadecimal. So we're gonna have to change that value. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring up calculator. This is the error that I found, which the bug check code value is 159. So we're gonna change that number. From the calculator, select view and then programmer, and we're going to change the number 159, and after that we're going to change it to hexadecimal. As you can see, it gave us 9F. In hexadecimal format, numbers should have 8 digits, so this 9F translates to this. Of course, this was an example, as there are so many other values that can translate to this. For example, 4B is going to translate to So all we're gonna have to do now is opening up our browser and then go into Google and then search for bug check code reference. Open up that page, and from that page you're gonna find the bug check code. And if you're wondering what that 9F was for, it's actually a driver power state failure error. That's it. Now for the second part, we're gonna explore all of these things that you can see on the screen. But first, we're going to take a test, and we're going to using the command prompt to actually scan our PowerShell. Create a folder on your desktop, and then from the left hand side on top on file, click on command prompt, and then remember to just run it as an admin because it's not going to work otherwise. Now this shit is case sensitive, and remember, now you're going to type in PowerShell using low cases and then hit enter. After that, you're gonna just type in sfc /scan now. Hit enter and just let the test to run its course. It's gonna take a while, and then the scan will be completed. For now, just let it run and see what happens. Whoa, the fuck just happened? Okay, if it's gonna find anything, it's gonna automatically fixes every fault that it's gonna find in your system. And I hope this is gonna help you. Now it's time for some action. Open your cases and then look at this 24-pin connector and an 8-pin and 4-pin that connects to your CPU. These things can just sometimes go loose. So just pull them out and then put them back in. Maybe that's gonna help you. First, let us take a look at the RAM. Okay, RAM diagnostics, here we go. Open up your control panel, navigate to System and Security, and then Administrative Tools. Open that up, and then look for Windows Memory Diagnostic. Double click on it, and then click on Restart Now and check for problems. Now people, this is gonna take a while. And sometimes it might look that it's stuck, like our lives, but it's actually running in the background, so let it finish. And after it's finished, if it found any problems, that you're gonna have to change your RAM. And this is it. Okay, now we're gonna change our primary display to the onboard graphic and then take out the GPU to see if it's gonna make any changes. So do this. Go into your BIOS by pressing delete on your boot up screen and navigate to advanced and system agents. Now my primary display, the settings for it was under advanced and system agent. Now I don't know where yours is located, so just look for it. After you've changed those settings, take out your GPU and then let your computer to run on your onboard GPU. See if it's gonna make any changes. If your system survived for like 12 hours without sudden restart, then your GPU is faulty. Change it. Of course, you can always use a stress test like FurMark, but I'm not really recommending it. So, I remember that I suddenly lost my audio when I was working with the system, and it's just wasn't there. I suddenly lost it. There was a big red cross on my speaker logo on the tray, and I took out my motherboard and checked this warranty thing they gave me, and I took it to them for the services, and they told me that there was nothing wrong. I took my motherboard back and I reassembled my entire system. And I remember that after I reassembled, this shitty error of critical and kernel power 41 just happened, just kept happening. It drove me mad. I was looking for the solution, and God knows, weeks and weeks I tried to find something, but then I remembered maybe there was something wrong with the way I assembled the system. Maybe I just put some component in a bad way. So I just took out my CPU and I repositioned it and I put it back in again, because there are like hundreds of pins under it, and repositioning it actually solved my problem. This is crazy, because most of the problems that we are facing in the system, we are getting those errors, are actually coming from the most simplest of things. I would have never think about this fact that I actually put that CPU in a really bad way. I just repositioned it and the system got back up, and suddenly no more critical errors, and this actually solved my problems. Of course I'm recommending you to do it. Please take out your CPU and then put it back in. And then take in a stress test, something like Prime 95, which is a really good program for actually putting your CPU under torture. And I I'm not looking for subscribers or more viewers or anything like that. I just hope that I could help you solve something that is so nerve-wracking, actually. That's it for me on this video.